Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry Gamers.
Hello, 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 and welcome, boys and girls, to the 275th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by those sexy legends over at Audio Technica, and those also equally sexy legends right here at 8bit.net. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit, and joining me today, my podcast Ride or Die, the Swanton Bomb to my twist of fate. You can find her on them socials at Miss Allie Hart. Miss Allie Hart, how the bloody hell are you?
I am pretty good because of my apparent very well-known love of Jeff Hardy. Shout out to just everyone out there that tagged me, sent me like all that stuff about him coming back into the wrestling ring. It was great. I got a lot of tags in it, so I got to watch it quite a few times.
Apart from, everyone just unanimously going, Jeff Hardy's back. Allie, look, it's your boy.
It's him.
I think the other thing that cracked me up was, obviously, for minor spoilers for those that might care about what's happening in the world of wrestling. Jeff Hardy's non-compete with the WWE has ended, and he's officially signed with AEW, and he made his debut this past week. He ran in to help his brother Matt, who was getting, attacked by a group of ruffians in AEW. But I think the part that cracked me up the most was like when he, like, the Hardy Boys theme song blasted through the speakers and the crowd popped, and Jeff runs in, but he had time to dance on the stage before running in to save his brother who's getting bashed. Like, he had a quick dance and he's like, oh shit, my brother's in pain, I better keep running. Like, the dance halfway through to the run in absolutely made me lose my mind. But it's good to see the Hardys back together again. Yeah,
it's always good when they kind of do their comeback. Was it WrestleMania? I can't remember which WrestleMania
WrestleMania
was.
a couple of years ago. That's one of my favorite returns in wrestling history. Like, that pop at WrestleMania there in the big open air stadium, it was huge. And watching that over, I watched it again a couple of times this week just to sort of see it. It just you get real goosebumpy every time because the crowd are just erupting. You can see how happy the Hardys are, and it's just big moments like that in wrestling is what makes wrestling so good.
And that was great too, because New Day was trying to kind of like juke the audience, making them think that they were the ones, and then it just kind of popped. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
So, all the best to Jeff, and hopefully he's got all his stuff in order and he's able to, make the Hardy Boys work again and be the dream team. But I'm not gonna bet any money.
That's it. Like, he's fighting with his inner demons constantly, that man. Like, he's a very talented guy, and the long-term injuries and discomforts that he's probably walking around with on the daily from the bumps he's taken probably lead to some of those addictions and shortcomings that he deals with. But yeah, you just hope that this might be the time he finally gets straight instead of getting done for DUI or drugs or this cycle that he's in. Because the rumors churning that, like, of the last time he got done with DUI when he was still at WWE, they said, we'll cover your rehab. We want to get you sorted. And he sort of said, nah, I'm good. Stick it up your asses. And that's why he left. So you worry because you don't want to see people in pain.
No, you don't. Especially like victims of I'm not going to say victims, but like, he sacrificed his body a lot for the WWE. He was quite the showcase, and he's like, high-flying acts is what, got him his name, got him his popularity, and obviously put a lot of butts in chairs just to see a TLC, to be honest, especially with the Hardy Boys in it. But yeah, anyway, I just hope he does well and stays healthy and happy.
That's it. And it was funny, like, that that debut in AEW, like, that's the first time him and Sting have been in the ring since their fateful heavyweight title match at Impact years ago, where Jeff rocked up to the pay-per-view main event inebriated times a million, and actually had to, like, call the mat. Like, they pretty much just jobbed him out in 2 seconds because he was too messed up to perform, and it was a whole thing. So yeah, hopefully he's got that in check, because addiction of any substance is not a good thing, and hopefully they can keep that under control and he can have a long, healthy run there and a long, healthy life. But we'll see. But it was just cool to see him and his brother back in again and hear that same stock Hardy Boys intro track. Like, that's the funny thing. That's stock music that's available for anyone in the world to use, that Hardy Boys intro. It's not owned by the WWE, so we could play it as our podcast intro if we wanted to and be well in our rights. But yeah, hearing that sexy bass line just roll in, it just gets people off the seats immediately.
We are the Matt and Jeff Hardy of podcasting, aren't we?
We are indeed. I've got like, I don't have one giant sort of white or grey streak like Matt Hardy does these days, but I've just got little ones. So maybe I need to start going delete more in the podcast when bad news pops up. Maybe that'll be my thing for now. And
I'm happy to have no rhythm and thrust dance all the way down to the...
He's got great moves. Like, he makes it work, doesn't he? He makes it work.
He does.
You could do it in rhythm though, because you're a trained dancer. You know how to move, so you can show Jeff the right way to do those little hip thrusts and the little finger gun points to the crowd as they love to do.
Yeah. Oh God, now I need to watch me some classic like Hardy Boys.
Yeah, you got to get the fishnet stockings on the arms though to fully get into it.
I had them when I was young.
So did I, back in my backyard wrestling days.
Back when I was a buff.
Yeah, but speaking of wrestling, I think perfect segue. I have been playing WWE 2K 2022. Thanks to those legends over at 2K for slinging me a copy on my Xbox Series X. And boy, howdy, is this a return to form for the WWE 2K franchise as a whole. It looks phenomenal. It plays great. The roster, I think, like it's in excess of 120 wrestlers on this roster. Don't read the fine print that potentially 30 or so of those people no longer work for the WWE but are still in the game. That's a whole nother story. But deep roster, deep modes. You've got your GM mode, you've got your singular superstar mode where you want to try and ascend up the ranks. You've got faction modes. You've got obviously then your exhibition styling where you can create whatever singular match you want, whether it be one-on-ones, tag teams, Royal Rumbles, Hell in a Cell, all the cavalcade of matchups and crazy stipulations that professional wrestling is known for. But the presentation, it's super clean. The button mapping as far as how you fight, do moves, whether it be striking or grapple moves, really smooth and intuitive. It's only a handful of buttons to do an assortment of moves, so it's not in depth as far as becoming a master to the game, and like you can feel pretty at home pretty quickly. Like picking up the controller, I haven't lost a match yet. Just saying, a humble brag aside, but yeah, it felt good. It was pretty touch and go. I nearly lost with my my own creator wrestler against The Rock at WrestleMania, but ultimately took him down. I managed to kick out of a rock bottom and people's elbow and stole my way to victory after walloping him with a chair a few times. But you know what? Suck it, Rocky Maivia. You had it coming. But it's really good and sort of that creator mode, you could say, because there's like so many subsets. You've obviously got the mainline wrestler you can create, but then you can obviously customize their entire moveset. You can customize their entire intro. Yes, you can then customize the videos that they play. You can make your own custom videos. So if you want something particular playing on the Titantron, you can have that going on. So you can literally make yourself in the game. Obviously, it's got like graphical import options. So like I've started importing some of the 8-bit logos, which then I've put on like, some of my entrance attire. And I've started to try and find some good photos of my tattoos because you can import that in and, do like skin wrap so it can start to look more like you. I haven't nailed the facial import yet to then try and make it completely like you. That's a whole nother journey that I'm going to undertake this weekend. So for now, I've got like loose likeness in the face, but not exactly, but hopefully I can nail the facial import and make it more true to reality in that regard. But it's so fun. It's so fun. And it's sort of just hitting that nostalgia itch of growing up playing SmackDown vs. Raw and WWE No Mercy back on the Nintendo consoles and stuff like that. It feels like teenage me again playing this game, but obviously with a a much sexier coat of paint. Like the roster, the character models look stunning on the Xbox Series X for one.
Really good.
And they move great. The moves themselves look fantastic, and just the animations, whether it be those intros or reacting to getting hit and the collision detection, it's all just like, it's really, really good. It's a ton of fun.
It's actually quite gorgeous. My husband bought it. He watched all the reviews and he like read a bunch of things about how amazing this game was, because let's be honest, it hasn't had the best run of previous entries. So he bought this one, and there's the little intro sequences and such of just the game where I'm pretty certain it goes from in game to real life footage, and they kind of recreate real life footage in the game engine and transition between the two, and it's almost the game looks so good that you almost can't even tell when that switch happens. And that honestly got me, because the character scans that they've done, the faces are just incredible, absolutely immaculate. Obviously some of the older wrestlers that are no longer with us, not looking as clean, but still the overall game looks gorgeous. We didn't get too far because, as you said, you can kind of customize intros and entrances, and we spent the entire night making Kane do sexy dances. So
why would you? Why wouldn't you want to see the big red machine thrust his big red
wave
machine
his
around?
Hips around? Yeah, no, that's pretty much how we spend the night. But we usually do a thing with wrestling where we create our own monstrosities and then we fight each other. So we still have
and you can make you can go obviously full photorealistic and try and make it look exactly like yourself, or like you just touched on.
Well, I did say
you can go
monstrosity.
the other end and just make these things nightmare fuel as far as crazy appendages, and just really blow out how the faces look and the body, and you can make it look as warped and twisted as you like, and it's cool that you can go either end of the spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll probably be playing some more wrestling on the this weekend maybe, if we have time, and get through that character creation thing, because that's going to take some time.
It's deep. And the cool thing with the factions mode is, you can create a faction with a group of online friends, and then you can go to war with other factions. So you can have your stable of wrestlers, and then you can compete to be, I guess, the best stables in the land, which is kind of fun. And then there's obviously singular matchmaking online, so we could play against each other and stuff like that. Really deep. The soundtrack is really thumping. It's got a lot of current day radio rock, you could say, a lot of Machine Gun Kelly and stuff like that. And then on the back of this, they've already announced all the expansion packs coming between now and I think right through past June, where Ronda Rousey's on her way, Machine Gun Kelly's on his way, Logan Paul is in there, Rob Van Dam, Cactus Jack, and all up, I think it was another 30 they announced. Stacy Keibler got to mention, she's making her way in those giant legs.
I went looking for Gangrel, but couldn't find him.
Yeah, he's too busy filming porn, I think, still. But he's still living his best life. So power to him and the Brood. But yeah, it's super fun, and it's great to see this franchise rise from the ashes. Because as you said, Miss Hart, the last few entries into the WWE wrestling world have been pretty shitty, and this is a real return to form, and it's super fun. It's scratching an itch, especially after we've been playing more Elden Ring this week. It'd be tough. I'm nearly at level 55 now.
Oh, you know what? I don't even know.
Been grinding out, but I'm still a bit squishy. I've been leveling up that intelligence, so I have become a bit of a glass cannon. My mage ability, I went and found a good staff, so now I feel a bit stronger.
Yeah.
But one or two swipes from an enemy and I'm kaput. But I'm feeling a little bit more confident. I'm being more proactive. I killed the goddamn tree sentinel, took him down, got his giant. I think it's called something glaive, but the strength that I need to wield this thing is 3 times the level it's at anyway. So I'm never going to use the weapon. But took him down. I went in when I was feeling a bit higher level, and I fought him maybe 5 times in a row. Death. final victory, and I was like, yes, I was so happy, and the dogs were like looking at me like I'm an idiot as I was sort of cheering and toasting to my successes, but it felt good. I've been taking some baddies down and exploring the world a bit more freely. It's still great. It's still gorgeous. I can still see why this game is so well reviewed, but at the same time, I also know in my bones that these games aren't for me still. The more I play it, like, I still enjoy it, but I enjoy other types of games more, and that's not a shot to the Soulsborne games. They're phenomenal, and I can really respect and admire what goes into these games, but the more I play it, the more I realize that, yeah, this isn't my kind of game.
No, I totally agree with you. I played some more of it as well. Started just going down the route of like, if it's big, I'm not gonna fight it. And I just traveled more. I just wanted to see more of the map instead of getting absolutely demolished. I tried to find dungeons, but I kept on getting absolutely killed by goblins, little green freaking goblins.
They're little bastards.
They are, and I was so damn stubborn about I'm like, no, I can definitely beat them. No, because then there was just more, and then I went into this room and it was like super dark, and I'm like, I don't see them sitting on the ground, so I went over to pick up what was on the ground, and then like as I turned around, I saw on the wall they were just all hanging up on the wall. I'm like, oh fuck. So. Yeah, I've just been more like just traveling and trying to get like lower level enemies if that's possible. But I do agree with you. I'm at this stage where I see the fun in the game. I see why people enjoy it, but I know for a fact I don't have the patience or the skill set to actually experience this game to its fullest potential. But I can still appreciate it being a fantastic game with a lot of qualities that definitely justifies its successes and sales, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, and that's not a shot to From Software or Elden Ring. Like, it's just things aren't for everybody, and that's this game for you and I collectively. I think like we can appreciate it and see why it's a 97 out of 100 on Metacritic and one of the best reviewed games of the last several decades. I totally get it, but yeah, I enjoy it, but not to the level I enjoy other types of games. And that's fine. Like, I'll still dabble. I'll still keep pushing here and there. But with these other games starting to roll, like with WWE, and we've got Ghostwire Tokyo in a couple of weeks. We've got Tiny Tina's coming out as well. Like, there's other games I'm going to shift my energy towards and know that they're going to be challenging, but nowhere near as difficult as Elden Ring. Maybe I need the easier, more palatable games to fully reach my enjoyment level. But something that happened this week too, the Elden Ring world record speed run was beaten twice in one day. First was done by YouTube user Lil Aggie. He published his speed run where he rolled credits in 59 minutes and 38 seconds.
Wow.
But then a few hours later, Distortion 2 dropped their video on YouTube as well, and they rolled credits in 49 minutes and 29 seconds. Absolutely absurd. But yeah, Distortion 2 even said that was his first ever speedrun of the game, and he reckons he could do it in under 40 minutes. Like, get fucked. Get fucked.
Calm down,
you
mate.
show ponies.
Like, especially when it comes to speedrunning, like knocking off like 10 minutes is actually a big feat when you're getting in the competitive route. But I think we're just gonna, now that people know, people are kind of obviously going to be sharing routes and, like tricks to knock down these times. We're just going to see it shorter and shorter and shorter. So
it's absolutely absurd. Like, I'm watching other people or seeing on the socials, people are doing, like no death runs and no leveling runs. Like, I saw Lido was starting a run where he's not going to level up his character at all. He's just going to work his way through the game at that base level. And it's like, that is absolutely bananas. Like, power to you that are doing these types of things, but y'all be crazy. Like, I ain't ever trying that. I would fall into a heap. I'd be crying. My controller would probably be thrown into the television. The dogs would have got thrown over the fence. Like, it would not be a good time. And I'm not going to, put myself through that. But the ones that do it, power to you, but you're made different.
Yeah, stronger than I am.
Yeah, crazy. And speaking of strength as well, Robert Pattinson's portrayal of the Batman. We both went and watched it between episode 274 and now. And I think ultimately we both enjoyed the viewing experience. It was a very long viewing experience, 3 hours. She was slow burn.
Yeah.
But avoiding spoilers, avoiding specifics, very, very pretty movie to watch. I love the grittiness, the gothic sort of vibes of it, the muted color palette for the most part, and then when you do get splashes of color, it just really like popped on the screen in a few big scenes. The actors, I think, did well in their respective roles. I like that it was more grounded and focusing more on detective side of Batman instead of gadgets and gizmos and billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. I like that it was grounded in a lot more realism. Some of the fight scenes were cool. Some of the brutality and just, it was, you know, a lot of hand-to-hand combat as opposed to, you know, so much reliance on batarangs and guns and weaponry and stuff. It was really, really just like bare knuckle brawling most of the time, and it was really, really visceral as far as and brutal as far as some of those hits that old Bats was landing. But overall, I really liked it. I like the direction Matt Reeves is going with it. I'm excited for more. Obviously, we've got the 2 television spin-offs with the Penguin and Gordon announced and coming to, I think, I can't remember if they're both for HBO. I know at least the Penguin is. I'd assume both would be.
I'd assume they'd have to both be, yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I liked it. I'd chuck my 8-bit approved stamp on it. But Miss Hart, what about you?
I'm a little bit more critical than you, but I think that usually goes without saying when it comes to the DC franchise, and especially Batman, it seems. Overall, when it comes to like lumping in all the Batman movies together, this one is probably more higher up on my list in enjoyment. There's a lot of things that kind of really like bothered me in it. Obviously the long run time. Though I kind of mentioned, I think it was to you, I said that for the most part it didn't feel like Gotham. It felt like New York. I never once felt like they were in this, you know, comic book universe. I just felt like they were in New York most of the time. I didn't like that Batman's music theme sounded like Darth Vader's theme.
Yeah.
It got me every single time it went off. And then there's just like other little things that kind of like bothered me, but there's no point in me going into greater detail in that. I do appreciate that we are still seeing Batman at his early stages, but they have cut the crap on repeating themselves and focusing on all the bullshit that we know. But so that way we don't see all the gadgets. We still see, you know, rough around the edges, Batman figuring his shit out, failing, stuffing up, using equipment, you know. So that was great, learning about what he should be doing and all that sort of business. So that was awesome. We saw fantastic depictions of villains from the franchise.
Yeah, totally agree.
Penguin was great. On so many different levels. They did so well with the Penguin, and I actually really did enjoy the Riddler. It was a little cringy at times where you could see that they took elements from both Saw and the movie Seven. But in saying that, the payoff at the end was perfect. It was what I would want for that character in particular. So I'm trying not to spoil it. So yeah, like I still say it's 8-bit approved because there were a lot of like I said, like little pockets of perfection that I really, really enjoyed. But amongst it, you know, mixed in with the long run time, that kind of like aggravated me a little. But those little pockets of perfection were great. So
I like that term, pockets of perfection, because yeah, there were a few sections in this movie where I was just in awe of everything going on. The acting mixed with the cinematography and the soundtrack and then just the overall themes that were rolling out in front of our eyes. It was really, really well done. And it's cool to see that DC allowed Matt Reeves to sort of follow his own vision and do his own interpretations with these characters. Like you mentioned the Riddler, and just knowing that the most recent live action adaptation of the Riddler, obviously we got Jim Carrey's perfect, run as Edward Nygma.
Yeah.
But seeing him completely have the script flipped as far as the interpretation in the Batman, it was really cool. I liked that they went this more, real twisted and horrific and grounded pseudo psychopath serial killer
kind of, yeah. That's the best.
It was awesome. And it fit in with the tone.
there's a lot of things in there in the movie where you can just tell that Reeves and people involved were paying attention to Batman comics and that they were trying to reference and get right. So, and that's the part I really respect. And not the like, you know, main run kind of stuff, a lot of like offshoots. So the thing that I take from this as well is that, talking about the series, because they did the villains justice, and because everyone knows I love the villains in DC the most and Batman the most, I'm kind of excited with like how future villains are going to be depicted and, you know, how they come across. So pretty excited for that.
Me too. And the fact that the Gordon offshoot, they've since sort of had some quotes jump out into the media where they're saying that the Gordon series, it's going to be focusing a lot more heavily on Arkham, and some of the verbiage thrown around is that it's going to like be akin to like a haunted house to a degree, I guess. So it's going to lean into some of the atrocities of that place and probably really dive deep on some of those more twisted and unique villains from the Batman universe. So I'm excited for that. And then Penguin probably going to be a little bit more grounded in reality and lean more into the world of organized crime and stuff. But I like that they're probably going to be very different in tone. We're going to probably see some stories intersect and characters cross over, but feels like they're going to be two very different things to watch at the same time. Yeah,
I anticipate that these series are going to be much like what Disney kind of did with the series that we're currently watching, where you kind of they fill a lot of middle space. So I assume that these TV series that they're going to launch is going to probably fill a lot of middle space and, you know, details in the middle for the next Batman movie that will come along after.
Yeah. But, really enjoyed it. Yeah, long runtime though. So empty your bladders before the movie starts, because I had to peel off to go to the bathroom.
Or use the app.
About 2/3 through.
Run Pee. Is it called Run Pee? Is that what the app's called?
I think it is. And it tells you where the best downtime is to do
pee,
a bathroom break. Because I missed apparently some good Batman Penguin scenes while I was off at the bathroom. But it happens. You can't control your bladder. Well, you can, but you know, sometimes it just gets to a level where you got to go. Yeah. You've also checked out Our Flag Means Death, I see.
Oh, such a good show. So sweet, so funny. Such easy watching. I got an ad for this just randomly, and just everything in it. Taika Reese Darby from Flight of the Conchords was his best known thing. He's in a lot of...
And then Jumanji, you'd say, is probably the other big one.
Yeah. But, you know, this show has... It's about a rich... set way back when of pirates and everything like that, but it's this, like, rich, you know, aristocratic, you know, guy who's sick of his rich, fancy life, and he decides to go out and become a pirate. And he has no clue what he's doing. He hires a ragtag, you know, group of, you know, people to look after his pirate ship, and then like just like craziness ensues with him also working with like Blackbeard, who is Taika, by the way. So
which is great.
Yeah, it's got a lot of people in it that you may recognize from other things, not necessarily crazy A-listers, but like a lot of people maybe in the comedy scene that you would maybe recognize. But it's such sweet, goofy watching, and they've already released I think 6 episodes right now. I'm watching it on HBO Max. I think you guys might be able to watch it on Binge. Maybe?
Correct, yeah. Binge or Foxtel if you still got the box at home.
Yeah, so, but yeah, Our Flag Means Death. It's a great, simple, funny watch. It's such a, like, there's such daggy things in it, and, but it's been so good, and I've really, really enjoyed it. So I've been recommending it to a lot of people.
Am I right or wrong that the character, the main character, it's a real, like, it's based off a real person from history, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they share the same name, but he gets referred to as the Gentleman Pirate. So because he there's a lot of things that he refuses to, you know, kind of give up of his original life, which, you know, fancy clothes. His quarters are decked out with, you know, a library of books and fancy clothes and, you know, nice silks and stuff, and he pays his staff, like he pays the crew, you know, regularly, and so it's just great.
The Gentleman Pirate. Yeah, I'll have to have a look. I saw it pop up on on my sort of recommendeds on my Apple TV, and I'm like, yeah, I'll give this a look. And then there was some press that I saw in the morning on like the morning show this week where they had Reese on and sort of talking the show through and showing a couple of clips. I'm like, all right, yeah, I gotta check this out.
Yeah, the episodes aren't long either, so it's not like a long commitment kind of thing. It's just something fun to kind of throw on.
Yeah, something that I can't decide if it's fun yet. I started watching just as some background filler this week as well. A new one that's dropped in March called The Guardians of Justice on Netflix. Have you seen anything about this?
Does this go between like animation and
yeah.
So I've seen a trailer for this and I was like, so I'm not sold on it, but I'm not against it either.
Yeah, so it's done by Adi Shankar, who is best known for, I guess you could say, the bootleg universe. So where he's done the one shot films about stuff like Power Rangers. He did the series trailer with James Van Der Beek. He's done a James Bond one. He's done an End of Pokemon. He's done Judge Dredd, Venom, The Punisher. So he's done this bootleg universe. Obviously, as far as other Netflix stuff, Castlevania, developed that for Netflix. He's doing Assassin's Creed. He's doing the Blood Dragon remix. He's doing Devil May Cry. He's even signed on to do a Hyperlight Drifter television show. So he's tied into all the video game adaptations for Netflix. And then he's produced a ton of great movies. Like he did Dredd, which I really like. He did
Dredd.
Yeah. Yes,
he
produced
that one.
Yeah, and The Grey, Machine Gun Preacher. So he's got sort of a style as far as what he does. This Guardians of Justice, it's a parody of all things from DC and Marvel. Diamond Dallas Page plays the lead Nighthawk in this. So that sort of sets the scene, I think, pretty well as far as DDP playing Nighthawk, who's the older grizzled parody of Batman. And yeah, it transitions from like 80s sci-fi neon fever dream to animation to video game to everything else in between. Like it is a feast for the senses watching this thing. And some of the actors and actresses that are in it, like Christopher Judge plays the American president, Nicholas E. Newcomb. Denise Richards plays Laura Lois, the wife of Marvelous Man, who I guess you could say is, the Superman equivalent in this. And then there's a whole host of other characters that come in as the equivalent of, the Justice League versions, or the Guardians of Justice as they're called in this. But it's just this pulpy, violent mess of a thing, but I kind of like it. Like, it's not the best and it's not going to win any awards, but it's just so rough and crusty and like it's really gritty, and like the acting is not the best, but it's just a crazy portrayal on the screen, like jumping from the cartoon animation to video game to sort of real life again and back and forth, and it feels like you're watching, I don't know what you describe it as. Like, like the Trauma movies, all those sort of... It's sort of like that type of vein as far as the tone and how it's shot. Like, lots of violence, lots of blood and guts, lots of exploitation, lots of just like... It's just really dirty and messy, but it's been good background filler as I've been, editing and doing other things. So, yeah, The Guardians of Justice... There's 7 episodes available right now on the old Netflix. And old DDP making his way to the screen and playing Nighthawk. He even does a diamond cutter, like his finishing move on somebody
really?
In a battle. It's absolutely bananas. And yeah, like, is it the best? No, but it's literally turn your brain off and watch it, because it's just bright lights, violence, sex, titillation, crazy actors and starlets that you've seen over the last decade just playing rando cameos in this just weird ass bootleg universe, and it somehow kind of works. Like the satire of the main DC and Marvel worlds coming to the fore here in the Guardians of Justice. It's interesting, and I kind of dig it.
Yeah, I could see why there's this weird appeal, because I feel like just from watching the trailer, I felt the same of like, this looks cool, but then it also doesn't look cool. So I might try to watch it, but if it's too outlandish, there's a really good chance it may not grab me. But it looks cool.
It's out there, but yeah, just from a cinematic standpoint, just seeing it sort of transition between these worlds as far as animation, gaming, 80s sci-fi, current day superhero tropes. And it just blends to this crazy thing called the Guardians of Justice. It's fine. Like, it's not the best thing I've watched this year by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
But it's just so out there that it sort of holds my attention because it's just so bonkers and so unpolished compared to everything else. Like, we go from talking about how beautiful and moody and, you know, tense and atmospheric the Batman was.
Yeah.
And then you see this. It's night and day. It's a big juxtaposition, and it's interesting, and I like Adi Shankar's stuff, and this is just more insanity, and yeah, DDP, and everyone's '90s crush in Denise Richards running around in there. Yeah. So huzzah. Anything else you want to shout out that we've been up to this week, or shall we keep rocking and rolling?
Let's get to the good stuff.
All right, some quick housekeeping. ko-fi.com/weare8bit. If you wanted to support us monetarily for the low price of $1 per month, you can do that right there. Get you exclusive access to perks, early access to content, and just helps keep the literal lights on here in the 8-bit studios. If you want to get some merch, obviously shop 8bit.net. Get yourself tees, hats, hoodies, and everything else in between there. But let's move into this.
This week's news headlines.
And the first bit of news, Gotham Knights finally has a release date. As announced this week on Twitter, the long-awaited game will launch on the 25th of October of 2022. Gotham Knights is the next game from Warner Bros. Montreal, the team behind Batman Arkham Oranges? Arkham Origins. That spun me out a little bit. Yeah, Batman Arkham Origins. It's an open-world action RPG where rather than playing as Batman, players will take on the mean streets of Gotham as Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood. A beta for the game was allegedly seen on Steam a few days ago as well, so perhaps that is also on the way. So, Gotham Knights, 25th of October, 2022. It's coming.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we are, all victims of, our games being delayed constantly, even having an official announcement of, date. I reckon that if this beta thing is real, then that will truly tell us then what the actual release date of this game will be. But I'm excited for it. I'm actually looking forward to this one. It looks
Who are you going to play as? Because we can roll as a squad of 4. Who are you laying dibs to?
I've completely it was more the play style. I've completely forgotten who.
You're going to go Nightwing, you're going to go Batgirl, Robin, or Red Hood?
I think it was Red Hood, but I can't be certain. It's either going to be Nightwing or Red Hood.
Okay. Well,
no one wants to be Robin.
Not big on Robin. I might play Batman.
No one wants to be Robin.
I'm going to be Batgirl then. But yeah, I'm looking forward to some squad-based action RPG with that real grounded, realistic combat, which, the movie The Batman really sort of took and had nods from the Batman Arkham series as far as how Batman moved in fight scenes and stuff, which I really like. So we'll get more of that in Gotham Knights. So it's exciting, especially on the back of the Suicide Squad getting delayed into 2023 at this stage. So it's nice we're still getting a little bit of DC gameplay coming our way at the back end of this year.
True.
Starting to pad out the back end, especially that holiday season. We don't have a ton of games confirmed, but at least we got Gotham Knights at this stage rolling in then. So that's
Hopefully.
Cool.
Fingers crossed.
The next headline I've titled, Catching 'Em All Comes With a Price. And a man has been sentenced to prison after admitting he lied to obtain a COVID-19 disaster relief loan and then went on to use that money to purchase a rare Charizard Pokemon card. Vinath Udomsine from the US state of Georgia was awarded a COVID relief loan after he claimed to run a small business comprising of 10 employees. However, after obtaining the cash, a tidy $85,000 US, Udom Sane used 57,789 of it to buy a first edition shadowless and holographic Charizard card with a 9.5 gem mint rating. Having pleaded guilty to one account of wire fraud, Udom Sane will now spend 36 months in federal prison with no parole. In addition to this, Udom Sane has been found $10,000 and ordered to pay restitution of $85,000 following the conclusion of his prison term. Udom Sane will then have to serve 3 years of supervised relief. COVID-19 disaster relief loans are issued by the government to help businesses struggling to survive during a pandemic, not to use for trivial collectible items.
You don't say.
Philip Weiser, acting special agent in charge of FBI Atlanta. This sentence highlights the FBI's commitment to aggressively pursue anyone who would abuse taxpayer dollars and divert them from citizens who desperately need them, end quote. So where is the Charizard card now? Well, clearly Udom Sane wasn't going to get to keep it. Instead, it has been handed over to his prosecutors. Elsewhere in the world of Pokemon cards, a rare Pikachu Illustrator card was recently purchased for an eye-watering $900,000, making it the most expensive Pokemon card ever sold to date.
So many things.
So
wrong
holy
in this
guacamole! Old Vinath Udom Sane creates a fake business, says he's got 10 employees, gets a heap of cash, and then decides to buy a Charizard minted 9.5. What the heck?
There's so much wrong in this story that, like, I can't even begin to start, like how was he able to apply that easily with no evidence?
Exactly.
And then how was he discovered? Does that mean that they were chasing down people, or they were trying to follow up on papers or something, or paperwork? Like, is that how he got discovered, or did he get dobbed in? And then just the other stuff about taxpayers' dollars should be given to people and not, spent on frivolous stuff. But that's just another can of worms that we won't get into. But this is crazy. Like, why did you think?
The fact that he made a fake business, somehow the government then acknowledged that, yes, you do have 10 employees. Like, I wonder if the 10 people he listed were either real people or if he just made names up. Like,
yeah.
What's the vetting process that the government went through to go, okay, Mr. Udom Sane, yep, there's your business, Pokemon Collectors Anonymous, whatever the hell it's called. There's the 10 staff. Here's your money. Like, it's crazy that it not only got to that level where he went through those gates, got the money, got the card, and it sounds maybe they flagged it. I'm assuming obviously he paid for this thing through a bank transfer. Maybe that was where the flag was, where he's never made a purchase above X amount, and then he's suddenly spending nearly $58,000 on a Pokemon card. They've sort of said, I beg your pardon, young sir, and it probably went through that way, and that's how they got him. But it's absolutely nuts that it just shows how clueless a lot of government bodies are.
Because if this person got away with it, Lord knows how many other people got away with it. He got away with it for so long.
Hundreds of cases of people doing the dodge. Like, you hear it over here as well with the tax benefits and stuff that the businesses have done here in Australia, where they could claim these COVID disaster payments and relief payments and then not push that money down to staff or use it to offset their taxable overall income, so they make more money come tax time. Like, it's so fucking dodgy that the fact that the government props up the big businesses for one in these situations. But then it's also scary to know that if you know just enough to skirt around the rules and know just enough what you got to fill in these documents, you could get yourself a portion of money and try and buy a highly rated Charizard card. Also
the other, on the other foot of this whole story is just how much people are paying for these bits of cardboard. Yeah. I really need to get access to my OG Pokemon cards at home, because
you could be sitting on a gold mine, Miss Hart.
Could be. Unfortunately, I never put them in a
in
sleeves.
The sleeves.
Yeah, no. They're sitting in a Tupperware box.
Well, hopefully it was nice and sealed and airtight. But legit, you could be sitting on a hefty bit of Johnny Cash right there.
It's a stack this big. Oh.
Yeah, especially if it's like the
see
Gen 1
that,
cards.
Audio listeners.
Yeah. The stack she showed me on the cam here was maybe 4 inches.
Like a quarter pounder size?
That's more Big Mac, I think.
You reckon? That's Big Mac. Oh, yeah, Big Mac.
There's the metric.
That's a metric.
About a Big Mac height worth of Pokemon cards there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could be sitting on a little gold mine there.
Have to find out.
But I can't talk. Like, I'm looking off camera now to piles of cards that I've got and purchased and things. So I'm no innocent victim in this, that's for sure. Oh, no. Victim's a dumb word to use. I'm not free of judgment in the world of buying cardboard for no apparent reason apart from that it looks pretty or I want it. But I'm certainly not spending nearly 58,000 US on a Charizard with money that I have obtained illegally from the government, that's for sure. But each their own. If you can afford the money to be offset or in some people's minds wasted on things like that, power to it. Just as long as your bills are paid, you've got a roof over you and or your family's head, and you've got food on the table, do as you will with your disposable income, unless that disposable income has been grabbed illegally from the government.
Yes.
Yeah. A much more positive note regarding putting your income into something in comparison to Vinath Udamsine. Itch.io are doing their thing to support Ukraine, and you can too. So available for a minimum donation of $10 US, you can pick up nearly 1,000 games with their latest bundle, with all proceeds being split between 2 charities, International Medical Corps and Voices of Children. The former provides medical assistance in the region, while the latter is a Ukrainian organization that supports children coping with the horrors of war. Of course, you can always pay above the $10 minimum. So I've just clicked through onto the live link as far as itch.io showcasing where we're at. So yeah, there's 733 different creators thrown their games into this bundle. Their goal at the moment is 5 million. It was 4 million yesterday because I checked this before I went to bed last night. And they've raised over 4.1 million US dollars so far.
Wow.
290,000 people have contributed so far. And at time of recording, there's still 6 days and 8 hours to go. But once this comes out, there's going to be around 4-ish days left to do your thing there. So we'll put the link in the show notes there. Just click on through. You're not only helping and contributing to a great cause, but you're also, getting a ton of games there that then you can pay forward as well and, share with other people. You don't have to take all those, nearly 1,000 games and archive them and whatever else. Share them out. Like, I wanted to try and buy a couple of versions of this, and we'll work out how I'll try and buy multiple, and we'll just chuck them out to everybody because there's a lot of great games. It's for a great cause. 991 items, including video games, tabletop RPGs, books, and more. Of these products, over 600 have never been available in a major bundle before, with several prominent developers and publishers signed up to itch.io specifically to be in this bundle, which is fantastic. The sort of statement reads on the listing: "We stand with Ukrainians and with all the people around the world who despise war." And some highlights of games that are in this bundle include Celeste, unique FPS supershot, retro action RPG crossword, puzzle game Baba Is You, the adorable A Short Hike, music adventure Wonder Song, Skatebird, and plenty more. So check the show notes as you're listening right now. $10 US is all it's gonna cost you to get all these games, and you can help make a difference and stand with the people of Ukraine and show that you don't stand for war because it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that shit's fun.
All right, moving on to the next bit of news here. I've titled this one, "Get Ready to Act, Boy." I don't know if I nailed the tone there. It felt pretty good coming out.
I think you did well.
Felt pretty good coming out. Maybe it's the scotches from last night and the beers that have made me a little bit more deep in tone today. But that boy felt pretty good. All right, so that is obviously in reference to Amazon Prime Video potentially looking to expand their video game TV series lineup with none other than a God of War live action series. According to Deadline, Prime Video is in talks with PlayStation to adapt God of War as a live-action TV series. The Expanse creators and executive producers Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostby, as well as the Wheel of Time producer Raf Judkins, are all looking to join the adaptation. If finalized, God of War will join The Last of Us and Twisted Metal as the latest PlayStation exclusives to make the jump to live-action TV. Not counting some of the other flagship games adapted for the big screen like Uncharted and the upcoming Ghost of Tsushima movie. However, The Last of Us is headed to HBO, while Twisted Metal is set for Peacock. But God of War won't be Amazon's only video game adaptation. Amazon Studios is currently developing a Fallout TV series from the creators of Westworld starring Walton Goggins, and a Mass Effect TV series is also set for Prime Video. So, God of War coming to the small screen. I'm down for this. Anything from that world, and it's like there's so many eras and time periods they could focus on. Like, would this go back to some of the original early PlayStation generations games, or would they sort of just retcon a lot of that and focus on the PlayStation 4 and subsequent God of War Ragnarok release coming out and just focus on that world? I don't know, but I'm down for it. Like,
casting is going to be rough.
Yeah, who's going to play Kratos?
It's such a, as you displayed, like, it is such a prominent voice and a very key factor in the character. So, not to mention finding someone, I'd say, tall and built.
Yeah,
and,
of that stature.
Yeah, so it's a big shoes to fill.
Like, the low-hanging fruit is Jason Momoa. That's the low-hanging fruit right there, I think. He's big. He's got a bit of deep tone. He's got a beard. You could shave his head.
No.
I know he's got beautiful hair. Don't get me wrong. Like, but I've seen him with short hair, going back to his Baywatch days of all things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
But he could make it work because he's a big boy and he's handsome and he's rugged.
Don't know, just shave his head.
Maybe they just put a prosthetic over, hide his hair
like
under
a skull cap,
under
all
a
that hair
cap,
under a skull. Oh no.
He's the first one that comes to mind for me, because you wouldn't have to do outside of cutting his glorious locks or hiding his
which
glorious
is very
locks.
important.
Yeah, but he'd make that role work.
Like, you're right, but no, not bald.
But I'm excited for this. Like, this, I feel this franchise would work on the screen. Like, you're already seeing the successes and the hunger for shows like Vikings. It'd be shot like that, have that same gritty tone, primitive, violent combat, but then you dial it up with a bit more fantasy involved. It needs to be a mature tone, though. Like, you can't sort of water it down and make it like an M. This has got to be visceral and violent and gory.
It's Amazon Prime. They'll let it, be gory. But, like, the story, like, where they're going to follow, this is definitely going to be one of those things. Well, though they did it with Witcher a little bit, but, like, the key character is the main focus in the game and the only story that you care about. So you don't really get to expand too much out on any other, like, side leading characters. So it'd be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset, like, if they do, like, blow that world out a little bit more and focus more on the actions and what led to the Greek gods' downfall, and then obviously we've got Norse gods in the recent games. Like, you can go a whole heap of different directions as how it's going to weave in, and could be some cool storytelling involved in that. And yeah, interesting to see. And yeah, like the fact you mentioned Amazon's attached, they'll throw some big money at it, and the production value will be big time if this thing does get off the ground. So we'll see. But a good wave of legit video game adaptations to screen is on the way, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Very interesting. All right, and the last bit of news we're going to be covering on this episode of THG, on episode 275, everything announced at the latest PlayStation State of Play. So we had PlayStation's first State of Play for 2022 run this past week, with a focus on games coming from Sony's Japanese partners. And I've got all the headlines as far as what was showcased here. We might dive deep on some and then skim over another, because there was a good smattering of announcements. The first one, my heart was so excited for 2 seconds, and then it got stomped into the mud. And Capcom has revealed Exo Primal, and that's coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 in 2023. So Capcom baited me so hard with some Dino Crisis vibes. Like, this is, anyone that's listened to at least 2 episodes of The Hunger Gamers would probably hear me talking on those 2 about how much I want Dino Crisis back. And they baited me with the character that looked just like Regina from the game with the short bob red hair. I'm like, what the fuck? Here we go. And then they go, no, it's Exo Primal, where dinosaurs are coming through bizarre ass like portals and just like pouring into the world. And then you're jumping into like these little mini mech suits.
Yeah.
And then you're fighting off waves or hordes of dinosaurs. Like, okay, like, because there's dinosaurs involved, I'm going to try it. But this game didn't excite me at all. As a dinosaur fan and as a fan of these sort of co-op horde survival games, like, it's hitting some notes I enjoy, but I was just so sad that it wasn't Dino Crisis, and it felt like seeing this character with the red hair felt like a big middle finger to fans of Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
And the game just looked dumb. It looked so fucking dumb.
I definitely think they did it on purpose. They were doing something for a reason. This whole like game of dinosaur horde mode, working together as a team to stop these like hordes and masses of dinosaurs. How isn't this a game like this released? Maybe not last year, but perhaps the year before. And I don't think it did well.
It was last year. It was called like Extinction or something. Benny and I played it for a hot minute.
Yeah, so
it was okay, but this just looks dumb.
Yeah, so choices.
It looks like, and it felt like Anthem with dinosaurs.
There was a moment where I was like, "Oh, Anthem."
Yeah, and I don't get it. Like, maybe it's gonna be stupid fun to play, and it could be great. But as the resident Dino superfan, I was just like, oh my god, this is so stupid. But, Capcom's involved. They make a good game. And it looked pretty, but the fact that there's just all these dinosaurs spewing out of these portals from the sky, and yet somehow they can fall like 200 feet and not die from the fall for one, which was one thing that annoyed me. But there was just a gajillion dinosaurs running at you, all this cannon fodder as you're cruising around in a mech, and naturally these suits, you heard all the accents. Like, it felt like the tropes from Pacific Rim, where it's like, there's the Asian group, there's the Eastern European group, there's the Australians. Like, it's like, let's just bring in all these accents and zany characters and have dinosaurs. Like, it works in its own stupid way, but Exo Primal did not get me very excited, Miss Hart. Just made me sad.
Yeah, me either.
All right, we got a new trailer for Ghostwire Tokyo. Obviously, that's coming out on the 25th of March. I'm keen to play this. I can't wait to sort of experience it. I hope it's going to be good. I feel that Tango are going to deliver a good game here, but the trailer, it didn't upset me. I'm excited to dive into this world and see what it's all about in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, I'm more just disappointed because originally I had the vibe that it was going to be like a horror game, and now it looks like it's just kind of maybe ventured a little bit away. Like, I'm sure that like there's things in it that people find scary, but just overall, it's not essentially the vibe that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's certainly starting to lean more into first-person action shooter type of vibe instead of more edge of your seat, gonna poo your pants because it's so scary. Like, some of the enemy models do look scary, but it feels like tonally it's gonna be more edge of your seat, sort of breakneck pacing instead of like trudging around scarily, as if you would be worried that everything's going to kill you. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll have more in-depth opinions in the next couple of weeks. There's a new demo available right now for Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin.
Boy, is it.
That's the game that is tying into the Souls genre, getting built out by Team Ninja, who most recently did Nioh. The game is coming out next week as well. So if you wanted to sample it before you pay your pennies to buy the game in full,
which you might want
try the demo. forewarning, it's not getting the most positive press out there.
No. But, like, I don't think I've ever seen it get positive press. Every time I've seen someone play it or show something from it, it's been very rough around the edges, weird voice acting, dialogue, like,
and a lot of chaos.
Oh my goodness, the stuff that I've seen online, and especially like in the last day of people playing the demo or whatever, it's just some of these dialogue options and acting is like, I can't say acting because it's not the voice actor's fault. They're doing the best at what they got, but it's great. Some, like, you just see it. There's the scene, someone put a video out of these people grouping up, and it's because they all have a rock. It's great. Like,
well, it's good to see they're bonding over something. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes when the official release start to bleed through in the next couple of days. We got some new gameplay shown for PlayStation 5 exclusive Forspoken. Obviously, Forspoken was just delayed this past week as well, from the 25th of May back to October the 11th. The game still looks interesting, and I'm curious to see how Frey, the main protagonist, fits into this world. Like, obviously, it's that isekai formula where modern day person ripped into a fantasy realm.
yeah.
But just the tone is still just a bit off from it. Like, it looks stunning. Like, it looks
Yeah, you think
really
it looks
pretty. Yeah,
There's
I'm
moments where
interested.
I'm just not, I'm not sold on it. So.
But yeah, the tone's just sort of a bit jagged for me. Like, it's a bit jarring. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll get more of that. Gundam Evolution has had a Western release confirmed with network testing incoming. So yeah, that was originally announced for Japan. But yeah, Western release is expected at the back end of 2022. It's a 6v6 competitive online first-person shooter featuring the giant mechs you'd expect from the Gundam name. That's going to be launching not only on the PlayStation Suite, but obviously Xbox and PC as well. Cool, fine.
Not my
I'm
thing.
not a Gundam head, but I know a lot of people that are. TMNT, the Cowabunga collection, announced for 2022 as well. This was a newly announced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection, which features 13 classic games, including Turtles in Time. They shown a trailer which had, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tournament Fighters, the arcade game, Back from the Sewer, Fall of the Foot Clan, The Manhattan Project, Radical Rescue, and The Hyperstone. The game is coming to all consoles later this year. So 13 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, all bundled into the one Cowabunga collection. You keen?
I probably won't, but I love that there's going to be a new generation that gets to experience Turtles in Time.
So great. So goddamn hard, but so great. Anyone that could finish that game on like 1 credit or token is bullshit.
Tokens and credits.
Yeah. All right. Kaiju Brawler Gigabash is coming this year. So if you're a fan of Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, you'll probably like the footage of Gigabash that was showcased during this state of play. Obviously, you're seeing big, giant 4-player battles between kaiju monsters. Looks like good, dumb fun. You know, anyone that played like Rampage in the 90s,
yeah, that's what I was
this
thinking.
is the next evolution of it, for sure.
Yeah.
I love big beastie battles. The next one, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game, is coming this year. You can play as 50 different characters from that universe. JoJo's All-Star Battle R. We only just got a quick look in the trailer that shows off all the personality and wackiness from the anime. But yeah, it's coming to all major platforms at the back end of this year. Okay, like, I didn't know that there was enough of a fan base to justify a full game on. I know a lot of people love JoJo's.
But would they actually, yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about this before we recorded. Like, we've both watched a small handful of JoJo's, the anime, and it just doesn't gel for me. Like, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it was for me personally, it was hard to find whatever the overall vibe is. Like, there's like elements of seriousness and elements of wackiness to it, and I just wasn't able to like kind of grasp onto that essentially. Plus, they killed a dog.
Assholes.
Yeah, and this fighting game, like the design choices, like I understand they're trying to hold like what JoJo's really known for is the style and design of that anime, but the cel shading Borderlands style cheapened it Is that what the word I want to use? Cheapened it? Like,
Yeah, I think that's a fair way. Like, it sort of lessens some of the impact and the slickness of what you see in the anime. Like, it is stunning to watch. Like, I'm not going to downplay just how much of a visual spectacle the anime is.
Yeah, the anime looks gorgeous. This is why I think I wanted to watch it and like it, because I just love these larger than life characters that you see people post from this anime. But I don't think the game did it justice.
Yeah, it felt like it was a little step behind the anime as far as the delivery and the quality, but we'll see. Like, it's coming out the back end of this year, big roster, 50 different characters, and maybe the fighting community is hungry for this. I don't know. My finger's not too heavily on the fighting community pulse. I don't know if this is something they've been calling out for, but we'll see. We don't have to wait too long till it drops. We got a new trailer for the black and white samurai adventure Trek to Yomai. This game looks so pretty.
Does look pretty, yeah.
Homage to the samurai films of yesteryear, and looks so great. Coming in US spring to the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Really slick and intense one-on-one sword-based combat, and then there's some platforming exploration elements in the game too. I'm excited to play this.
Oh, this one's on my radar. I don't think it's going to be something I'm going to rush out to play, but definitely if I have access or have time to play it, I would be kind of interested, because it did look like they were trying to grasp the traditional samurai films and like how they're shot and try to kind of recreate those shots, but to be able to experience them in the game. So it's very curious.
Very curious. Some news that I think got many people excited out in the game space. So Returnal Ascension campaign co-op update is coming later this month. So obviously PlayStation 5 exclusive Returnal, done by Housemarque, getting a big free time update. The update brings 2-player campaign co-op to the game, as well as a brand new survival mode about scaling a tower, taking out waves upon waves of Returnal's enemies as you go. And it's coming out on the 22nd of March. So, time of recording, that's in 10 days. But it'll be, just a little over a week once this episode is dropped when this Ascension expansion is dropping. And co-op campaign, that would make it so much easier for me and countless other people to get deeper into this game, because my God, does it punch you in the face hard. Yeah,
now you get to experience the torture with a friend.
Yeah. Some people love that, you know?
Some people do.
Maybe you guys can play it in some kind of sex dungeon. Who knows? But Returnal Ascension coming out on March 2022. So get hyped for that. Square Enix announced also a new strategy RPG called the Diofield Chronicle. It's a brand new strategy RPG coming to not only PlayStation 4 and 5 later this year, but also the Switch, Xbox, and PC. It's a fully 3D take on the strategy genre, and the trailer set up the story of the 3 kingdoms the game will focus on. Looked interesting. Like, I'm not a big strat guy.
Me either.
But it looked interesting, and I took notice, and I know a lot of people out there are keen for it and are probably going to dive in, but I don't know if it's day one for me. Like, that's not a shot to the game, but it just didn't sort of check my boxes I'm looking for.
Me either. Definitely not my kind of thing.
Yeah, and then the final announcement of the show was Valkyrie Elysium. It's coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 in 2022. The game is a new entry in Square Enix Valkyrie Profile series, which hasn't seen a home console entry since 2006 Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria, way back on the PlayStation 2. Got a very quick look at gameplay, which showed magic and sword combat against a variety of beast-like foes. The inner weeb in me saw this and went, okay, I could play some Valkyrie Elysium at the back end of this year. It certainly scratched my anime itch, or my manga itch, or just my general weebiness mentality. That's for damn sure.
It definitely confused a few people. There was a lot of speculation when the trailer was being shown live that a lot of people thought it was going to be some Nier, but yeah, it looks all right. I have no attachment to the franchise, and it doesn't look like my kind of thing, but it, should please those that do enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't touched any of the previous games from the Valkyrie franchise, but this one I'm like, maybe I'll give this a look at the end of the year.
Maybe it's time.
maybe it's time to dive on in and drop my magic and sword. Sweet combat. I love me some anime-esque inspired insanity. So yeah, Valkyrie Elysium closed it out. Overall, I felt the state of play was okay. The big misdirect at the start really pissed me off.
Yeah, it's not a good way to start.
Yeah, that Exo Primal really annoyed me, and that was pretty unanimous across social media. There's a lot of people where they were like, it's not Dino Crisis. And then just, it was, I don't know. But it finished strong. The Returnal co-op campaign, I think, was probably just about the biggest takeaway from the whole thing, at least from my perspective. But it was cool that they did a bit of a focus and a showcase on, the Japanese devs and Japanese-inspired games and content that's coming out. So, more of these. We've got a Xbox ID at Xbox Showcase come up this coming week as well. So we're going to get a bit of Xbox indie love hitting the internets for in time for episode 276.
Yeah, and I think Wholesome Direct announced that they're planning something soon too. So I love the indies.
Hell yeah. And that weaves nicely into
new releases and events.
Apologies for the misdirect from last episode where I said that we'd have the spoiler cast out for Horizon Forbidden West. That is going to be coming out this coming week because we're actually going to be recording it this afternoon. Australia's John O'Peck took his sweet-ass time in finishing that. So if you want to point your anger at someone, send it to @Jono himself because I've been ready for nearly 2 weeks now. But anyway, it's coming out. I've also got some new Bytecast episodes dropping this coming week as well. We're going to see the debut of Miss Ali Hart in the Bytecast studio talking all things sweet and tasty. As far as new TV coming to streamers, there's nothing new debuting this week, but there is continuity to a lot of the mainline shows that we've mentioned and touched on. So more episodes of stuff you're familiar with. I've checked what's coming out of the cinema this week as well. Nothing really new and big and noteworthy to check out there. A few little indies and bespoke films that are popping out, but none of the big Hollywood heavyweights. As far as games, though, Grand Theft Auto 5, so the next-gen edition for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, dropping this week. Phantom Breaker, Omnia coming out. The Cruel King and the Great Hero, Paradise Killer, Tunic, Anno Mutationem, Anno Mutationem. Jesus Christ, that's terrible. That's a terrible name for a game. Anno Mutationem. Monster Energy Supercross number 5, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, Shredders, and the game we mentioned that has a demo out right now, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. So a very diverse suite of games there. Yeah. Some highly touted, some less so. But plenty of games there to keep you busy as we move towards Ghostwire and Tiny Tina at the end of this month. Yeah. But plenty of things to do. Plenty of things to see, plenty of things to play. And let's jump into this.
Tweet of the week.
And this tweet comes via way of @Ikumi Nakamura, who can be found on the socials @Nakamura193. And she says, happy to announce my game studio Unseen, which I've clicked through to check the Twitter account to this, and they've actually flagged the @UnseenTokyo, which is the official Twitter account for her new studio. The page has been temporarily blocked / disabled. I don't know what's happened there, but the studio Twitter handle @UnseenTokyo is currently in limbo.
It's flagged as being like having suspicious activity on it. So I don't know what that means. But yeah, it's not great for when you're trying to announce a studio.
Yeah, but obviously for those trying to play catch up, Ikumi Nakamura was the adorable developer that was working at Tango, and she was, I guess, the face of the debut for Ghostwire Tokyo a couple of years ago. Yeah. She highlighted that at the digital E3 a couple of years back now, and she's since gone on to create her own studio, Unseen. Nice little trailer, just sort of I guess outlining the mission statement as far as what they want to do. But it's exciting to see another studio, be created in front of our eyes here. And I guess we'll see some of her works in the next couple of weeks with Ghostwire and probably get a little bit of a potential understanding of what Unseen might be up to in the coming years.
Yeah, I definitely watched the video. It's probably one of the more well-made studio announcement videos that I've ever watched. It was really beautifully put together. Yeah, put together and edited and such. And she highlights a few things in there that I think maybe a lot of people kind of overlook when it comes into the game creative world and design. So I'll give it a watch. It's very pretty. It's not long. And like I said,
about 30 seconds, I think.
Yeah, it's not too long. But yeah, it's good to see her, going out there, starting her own studio. She talks about, the conflicts of COVID, creating stuff of her own vision, and then also just being a mother. So yeah, I hope that everything goes well and the studio sees nothing but success.
100%. And I like that, exactly what you said there, like this announcement video, it's real. It's relatable, and I think a lot of people can watch that and appreciate and respect and connect on many levels as far as, the rawness that's on display. But it's really well put together, and hopefully at Unseen Tokyo gets their
the
potential freeze lifted by the Twitter overlords sooner rather than later. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of episode 275 of THG. Anything else you wanted to say or shout out before we shut this sucker down for another week?
Totally forgot to mention the F-Zero X is now on Switch, Nintendo 64 Classic Collection, like that little the little thing that they have now. So I've also been playing F-Zero X because that game is just killer. I fucking love that game.
Nice.
Great music.
Hell yeah. And I just also wanted to shout out to the legend that is Matt from Audio Technica. It's his birthday today, 12th of March. So if you know Matty, feel free to reach out on the socials and send him all the birthday love. It's going to be belated by the time this episode comes out, but send him a bit of love. So happy birthday, you handsome little bastard. And thanks for letting me feel very hungover today with a bit of pre-birthday celebrations last night. But yeah, hope you're doing well. 29 years young, the young squire.
It's nice. It must be nice to be so young.
It would be nice, yeah. Here I am with a bad back and grey hairs coming out everywhere. And he's still in the prime of his life. But that brings us to the end of THG 275. We're back again for the world first episode 276. But until next time, 8-Bit Nation, much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.